Hello learners, welcome to this session. This session is very interesting and you must have heard about a lot of things about waste, the enormous quantity of the waste. So today we are going to discuss what are the challenges in waste management. Learners, this particular topic is related to the course MEV 051, that is Overview of Waste Management, and this course is in block postgraduate diploma in waste management program. So in today's session we will talk about that what are the situations and what are the challenges which alter our path towards effective waste management. You must be knowing about the factors responsible for the enormous quantity of the waste that is being generated nowadays from various sources, and you must be knowing about the procedures such as recycling or alternative technologies. Now we are talking about a lot of these things which can be initiated at the individual level, at the government level. So many type of policies, programs, so many action points and initiatives are there. But then we must also look at what prevents us. Why are we not so successful? See, for the first time, we had solid waste management rules in 2000. After 16 years, the rules were amended and we have the solid waste management rules 2016. After a gap of 16 years, we have the rules now in place in 2016. And again, now after 2016, this is 2025, and although there is lot of progress made, but still there are a lot of challenges before us. So let us see that what are those challenges and what we can do actually to overcome these challenges. Before we begin with what are the challenges, let us understand first of all few basic things about waste management, or the you can talk about what are the issues related with waste management. First of all, let us recognize this as a very serious problem facing the planet today. It is not like the earlier times where we can afford to ignore this problem, because nowadays, because of the so many factors like increase in production and so many types of services which are being coming up, the economy has changed, the lifestyle of the people has changed, and the population is also increasing, economy is growing. And although there is a positive thing to look at, that the lifestyles have changed, people have become more tech savvy, lot of digitalization is coming, people are more educated. But again, if you look at the other side of the coin, this is also true that there is enormous amount of plastic, paper, glass, metals, toxic substances, hazardous substances. So much of the waste is generated from every activity, whatever you see all around. So solid waste generation, tons of waste is generated by the cities during a day. If you look at the recent statistics, if you look at the figures, they are really alarming. Around 9.3 million tons of waste is being generated, and out of which most of the waste is unattended. On our landfills, there is a legacy waste which is lying there for years. And this waste generation is not only an environmental problem, not only it pollutes the air, water, soil, and is bad for the organisms, but we are also not aloof. We are also living in the same planet. So whenever rivers are choked, our air is polluted, then therefore our health is also at risk. So solid waste generation is one of the gravest problems, environmental problems of today, and waste is a multifaceted and complex issue which involves a range of factors. Why we call it a multifaceted issue? Because it is not just an environmental issue. It is not just that it is linked to pollution, but rather it has a social side also. You must have seen various workers involved in the waste management, formally and informally, both ways. When you look at the informal means of collecting the waste, you can see the sad picture where the rack pickers, they collect the usable, reusable or recyclable material from the trash. They are handling it all over. they are exposed to various chemicals, various toxins which are there in the atmosphere. So it also is a social issue. It is, if you look at not just the waste workers, but on the nearby to the landfills, there is a population, there is a community which lives there. So they are forced to drink the polluted water, the chemical rich water. They are living near the sites which are very, very dangerous for their health. So most of the landfills, wherever they are near to the slums, they are near to where the poor people are living. And you, if you happen to visit some of these places or some villages or some urban colonies near the waste dumping site or the landfill site, if you happen to go, then you will understand that what is the gravity of the situation. The water they are drinking is not even advisable to use it for other domestic purposes, but they are using that water, they are drinking that water. They are forced to live in such a condition which is not good for them. And it is essential for inclusive and sustainable society. So environmental aspect is there, social aspect is there, but alongside there is an economic aspect also. Because waste improper disposal is actually a wastage of the resources. It is a wastage of the various amount of minerals or the metals which go into the manufacturing of a resource. There is a water usage, power usage, the labor goes into it, and when you discard it, when you throw it like that, then it is an economic loss. And therefore there is a talk about circular economy where we propagate that the materials should be there in the closed loop. Whatever has been used to manufacture a particular product, it should not be discarded as such. It should not be thrown away. Rather, we should make a system in such a way that the end products also are recycled. We are able to use them again, so that there is less manufacturing, less mining activities, less extraction of the groundwater, and overall less pollution. So therefore, learners, please understand this thing, that waste management is not an environmental issue only as it is being seen, as it is always thought of, but rather it has a social perspective also, it has an economic perspective also. And therefore in this course, if you go through the whole study material, you will understand. And one of the most important challenge, we will talk about the challenges now, is that we are not able to recognize the social and the economic perspective of the waste management. So if we understand it well, we will make all the efforts to see that the waste which is produced from our homes in the industries are properly disposed of or recycled, and again they are part of the system. And waste management is an issue today. It was not an issue some 15 years or 20 years back. It was not an issue. Why? Because there was less amount of the products which were manufactured. We had huge amount of land, and it is also observed that waste which was generated in the earlier times was mostly biodegradable. It was mostly organic, and therefore it was less harmful for anyone. But with the our exploitation, and with the growing this use and throw culture which is growing now, the products are designed in such a manner that they are not lasting more. If you talk about the electronic items, if you talk about our own lifestyles, we are using the products for a very short period of time and then we are discarding them. So they are thrown away like that, and they are there in the landfill. So there is increase in consumption, the rise in population is there. The nature, volume and the composition of the waste is changing. Earlier it was biodegradable, mostly it was organic, the earth elements were returned back, but now the waste contains mercury, cadmium, heavy metals, other electronic items. They are also laden with so many types of harmful chemicals, which was not the case before. There is a crisis of landfills because we are urbanizing, the cities are growing, and so we don't have enough space because land doesn't grow as quickly as the waste amount increases. So we have a limited land, and on that limited land we are using the outdated technologies of simply dumping the waste. What we are doing in most of the cases is that we are dumping only. We are not making any scientific or technological intervention to see that the quantity of the waste is minimized. Then there is a trash in our bodies. It is an issue because with the increase in the incidences of diseases like cancers or infertility, abnormal fetus growth, poor health of the people, quality life has gone down. It is all because the chemicals. And from where are these chemicals coming? If we say that we are eating all the food which that is pesticide laden, or the water is not pure, or we say the microplastics are there in the air, from where does it coming? What is the origin of this problem? The origin is the waste, the things which we have just thrown away. So every plastic bottle which is not recycled, every bag which is not reused is adding to our problem, is making our lives more difficult on this planet. And there is more of packaging. With the online shopping trends coming up, you must have noticed that this is one of the main factor which is emerging. Whatever we order from outside, whether it is a quick service restaurants or it is the online retail stores, whatever they are offering to us, it comes with a huge packaging. So we are paying more for the packaging than for the product in most of the cases, and which is bad for the environment. So there are various issues in waste management we were going to discuss. Now let us talk about the challenges. What are the challenges waste management? Number one challenge is we don't know how much we are generating. That is one of the most important. If you do it yourself, conduct the waste audit of your home. Every individual home or every individual entity has got a specific composition of the waste that it generates. So look at your homes, what type of waste are being generated, whether it is polythene bags or whether it is paper or cloth or the electronic items or the domestic hazardous substances or the kitchen waste. We don't know. So we don't have any data as such. So whenever we say that Delhi generates suppose 10,000 million tons of waste, then we are not sure. Because why we are not sure about the data, how much of it is generated? Because we have no collection mechanisms. Because it is also true that we are not able to collect 100% of the waste. Many times the waste is burnt. Many times it is there in the water bodies. So how do we know? When we are not collecting it properly, most of the waste it is just like thrown away. We don't know where it goes. Every plastic wrapper which you are throwing away, we don't know where does it end. And how do you know? How will you ensure that the quantity which is being specified, that is this much amount of waste is being generated by any city or any state or any country? We do not have any specific reliable data. And in the absence of the data, there is very difficult to manage it. If you don't have data, if you don't know how much of it is recyclable, how much of it is wet, how much of it is domestic hazardous waste, how will you plan? How will you do it? That how what measures should be taken? So we don't have the data, and most of the data which is there is only estimated one. It is not measured. So this is one of the issue. Number two issue is that we have been dealing with this waste management problem with the outdated technologies and methods. We are still burning the waste in incinerators, or we are still looking for more land to landfill the waste. So these are outdated technologies. They are not new. Whatever is required is that right technology is very important. Because whether it is composting or whether it is waste to energy treatment plants, we must look into the nature and the composition of the waste stream, and then only the technology should be selected. But in our case, most of the times what we are doing is that we are relying on the private sector for the waste management. We have no mechanism that how much of the recycling centers we have, how much of the waste is being collected, how much of it is segregated, how do we compost it, or how do we incinerate it. That is all very technological, they are not so good. And what happens is that they consume more energy, they take in more inputs, and therefore the efficiency is not so great. So efficiency is not so great, that means that it doesn't give the desired outcomes. For example, the waste to energy treatment plants. We have tried to use the waste to energy treatment plants to install them and see that the waste which is being collected from the various sources is converted into energy. But in our country, it has failed because of the fact that most of the waste which is being generated from our homes is moisture laden. It has got a lot of moisture in it, and because of that, what happens is that it is not suitable for these type of energy generation mechanisms. So most of our infrastructure we don't have, most of the machines are outdated, they take lot of energy, they do not give that much of return, they are not so effective, and most of the focus is still on recycling. We feel that recycling is the ultimate solution, and which at this stage you must understand that always saying that we can use plastic because it is recyclable is not an answer, and it's not a smart way for waste management, because to set up a recycling center or to do all the recycling processes, that is also energy intensive. Most of the cases that also require setting up of an infrastructure and takes on lot of resources. And rather talking about the other methods, like you talk about the innovations, or you can talk about the reuse of certain materials, our focus on waste management has always been on recycling. We think that everything can be recycled, we can obtain it again, which is not true, which is not the case, and therefore that shift is very, very required. So we must be knowing about the various R's: refuse, reduce, refurbish, recycle, repair. You can keep on adding as much as R as possible, so that this is actually the waste management, because earlier waste management was only waste collection, transportation, and dumping it outside the city. But today waste management involves much more. It is that how you are collecting, how you are segregating, how you are treating, how you are disposing, how you are ensuring that it is back in the system, the raw materials. So that thing is very, very important. Another challenge is, which is the most important one, is that we do not have any mechanism of collection. See, we say that most of the waste which is being generated is organic or biodegradable in India. Most of it is like kitchen waste or the biodegradable waste. This type of waste can be easily composted. We can make compost out of it, which can be given to the fields. But what is the problem here is that we are not able to collect it properly. We have the provision of having the green and the blue and the black dustbins everywhere in societies, in public places, but we have not been so successful actually in collecting the waste in a proper manner. So most of the waste is unattended. It is like thrown here and there. It is all mixed up. Paper is mixed with plastic. Plastic is mixed with the leftover food. Then in that some metal is also lying. In some glass bottle is also there. It is all mixed up. So there is no segregation. There is no collection. This is the first step. If you want to make a career in waste management, or if you want to learn about waste management, the first and the foremost step is waste should be properly collected and segregated. And here you must be knowing about, there's a small village in Japan where it's not a village also, it's a town, and in that town the waste is collected in 45 different categories, In 45 different categories, the waste is collected. And see then how easy it becomes to devise a solution for the waste management problem. Because when you collect it separately, so then you know how much of it can be recycled, or how much of it can be incinerated, how much of it can be reused, what could be done to the rest of it. That is very easy. So we do not have any collection messages properly, we do not have any segregation. And another challenge is the challenge of land. We need land for agriculture. We need land for residential purposes. But most of the waste is also dumped on the lands only. It occupies a lot of land. So they are saturated beyond the capacities. In Delhi, all the three landfill sites, that is Ghazipur, Okhla, Balsawa, they are fully saturated. They have been saturated around 1980s. Still we are dumping on them. So we know that how much of the mountains of garbage and trash have been formed. The land is very less. Land is scarce, and the options to manage the waste is very, very limited. We are still relying on all those old techniques. Old dumps are unscientific. They are just dumping grounds. The old landfills, or whatever you say, actually there are certain norms to design the landfill also, that it should not be near the water body. It should have a lining so that the waste does not percolate and the leachate is not polluting. There are certain it should not be in the low lying area, it should not be beneath any hill or this thing. So look into all these factors, then the landfill should be constructed and designed accordingly. But most of the times they are just treated like the waste dumping sites without consideration of the nature of the soil, nature of the land, water table, or the nearby areas. If it is there near a sanctuary or any other biodiversity rich place, then it should not be constructed there. But normally it does not happen. So another important challenge what we face today is scarcity of land. And challenge 5 is lack of awareness and participation. Still, with the Swachh Bharat mission, government initiatives, lot of programs, lot of sensitization programs are being run, and now people are still aware about the nuisance of plastic or hazardous substances. They know that it is dangerous, and at some level they have become quite vigilant about how to use these products and when to avoid these products. But most importantly, the participation part is seriously missing. So at one end, people do not have the knowledge that how it is bad, how it poses threat, and the other end, it is also true that even if they have knowledge, they are not so participative. Whether organizing such activities or saying no to plastics or thinking twice before buying, these are some of the steps which the ordinary people or layman can actually take, but rather it is not happening. And most of the times we think that waste management issue is under the purview of the government or the municipal bodies or the urban local bodies, or the scientists should think about some solution to this problem. Many a times we fail to understand our own responsibilities. We fail to understand that what action should be taken on our part, or how I am polluting, or how much of the waste I as an individual is generating. According to the estimates, it is said that a person in a year consumes or uses around 85 plastic bags on an average. This much of which we are using. Think about the planet. Think about the people living on this planet. Think about the ways in which the plastic has entered into our lives. So these are some of the factors which are very essential for us to therefore. And therefore challenges, 5 challenges we have seen, ranging from having lack of data to less knowledge of the people, but rather we should now focus on the solutions part also. Solutions are at various levels. There are regulatory solutions, there are policy level solutions, there are behavioral solutions. So government is responsible for bringing in suitable policy, for making certain rules and regulations and all those things. Technological solutions lie with the scientists and the researchers who are working in their area, and they are bringing up with device, novel technologies, like you have bioplastics now, the plastics which are made from the cornstarch, or we have which have the organic thing in their origin, so they are not like that hazardous as the conventional plastics. So there are solutions at the technological level, and then there are solutions at the behavioral level. What we can do, what lifestyle changes are required, what behavior needs to be altered, so that there is less of a problem and it can be easily sorted out. So learners, in today's session we have seen that the gravity of the problem, that how waste and waste management is an issue nowadays, and it is a threat. It is threat to the planet, it is threat to the aquatic organisms, and we ourselves are in a very bad condition. Our health is compromised because of the various factors, and therefore we must think about the suitable ways by which we can play our role, we can play our contribution. So schemes like we have policy interventions like extended producer responsibility, or some other ways by which we can contribute. Now we have options that we can just say no to single-use plastics, or we can think about using less, or you can talk about less digital devices. They shouldn't be discarded like that. These are some of the solutions which can come a long way. The landfill is certainly not the answer. What we always think that landfills are there, that is not the answer. So thank you so much for today's session. Thank you.